Welcome to Lesson 14 Workbook Exercise video for Hebrew 1 and 2, Bright Old Testament 502-504. In this particular lesson, we're going to be looking at all of the exercises. You might find it easier to go through and do the homework on your own, and then come and look at the video for the ones that you struggled with. But given the nature of what we're studying here, as we're talking about pronominal suffixes on verbs, I thought it was necessary for us to go through each and every one. Again, this will take quite a bit of time, so you can speed up the video as you need, as you understand. But if you desire, you can go through and watch the whole thing and see me do every exercise. So let's get started. This first set of exercises is all perfect verbs in the cal stem. You're asked to identify the person, gender, and number of the verb stem, as well as the person, gender, and number of the suffix that is attached. Please note that my computer does not like cough, especially final cough. Therefore, I have inserted the English letter K to represent cough. K plus A is cough plus a comets. K by itself is simply a cough with a silent schwa. You'll notice this in a couple of the exercises. So go ahead and take a stab at number 1. How would we parse this particular verb? This first verb is a cal perfect, as are all 15 of these exercises. You can see the one CS ending, the tav plus the hirik yod after the lamed, indicating that this is a first person common singular verb. So the verb root, ga'al, is redeem, so I will redeem. And then a second person masculine singular suffix, I will redeem you. What about number 2? Again, it is a cal perfect. This time, however, is not tav plus a hirik yod, but tav plus a patak, so that we have tani, which is a second person masculine singular ending, with a 1cs, first common singular suffix. So you will remember me. What about number 3? Number 3 is a cal perfect 3ms plus a 3fs suffix. This is not she will remember, because we have the mapik in the hey. That indicates that the hey is a suffix, not a subject marker. If you take the hey off, there is no subject marker, so it has to be a third person masculine singular. He thinks. Then we have the 3fs, which is her, so he thinks about her. What about number 4? This is a cal perfect 3fs verb from yalad. You see the tav plus the schwa and may assume that it is a 2fs, since tav plus schwa is the typical 2fs ending. However, with a suffix, we actually have tav plus a hirik yod in the 2fs, exactly like the 1cs. This is a 3fs ending, only with a suffix. Typically, the 3fs is simply a comets hey. But here we have tav plus the schwa in the 3fs with a suffix. And the suffix, the kaf plus the comets, is a 2ms. So she gave birth to you. Let's try number 5, keeping in mind that tricky little aspect of the tav. Number 5 also is a cal perfect 3fs, even though it's the tav plus the schwa, because tav plus hirik yod is the 2fs. This is 3fs, and it is followed by a 1cs suffix. So she gave birth to me. Let's try number 6. Number 6 is a cal perfect 2fs or a 1cs, because the tav plus the hirik yod can be the same. So that we either have you found or I found, both of which are followed by a third masculine singular suffix, he, the type 2 or the old archaic who is he, so that we either have you found him or I found him. What about number 7? Number 7 is just like number 3, where we have the hey plus the mapik, so that we know that this is not a 3fs ending, but a 3fs suffix. Take that off, there is no suffix, therefore this is third masculine singular. So we have a cal perfect third masculine singular, plus a 3fs suffix. Go ahead and give number 8 a shot. Number 8 is a cow-perfect third common plural that you can see by the Shurik after the Dalet. And we have a third masculine plural. Remember, mem for masculine. This is a third masculine plural suffix. So they served them. Go ahead and try number 9. Number 9 is a cow-perfect third masculine singular. We see no suffix actually on the verb itself, which is why we know it's a 3ms. And then we have the nun plus the hirik yod, ni, which is the 1cs suffix. Go ahead and try number 10. Number 10 is a cow-perfect 1CP. We can see the kibbutz underneath the nun, which is the ending, the suffix for the 1CP form of the perfect. And then we have who, type 2, or the archaic 3ms suffix. So we served them. Try number 11. Number 11 is a cow-perfect 2fs, 1cs. Again, the tav plus the hirik yod is exactly the same in the 2fs and the 1cs, so that this could either be you abandoned or left, or I abandoned or left. And then we have the kaf plus the silent shva, the 2fs suffix, so either you left her or I left her. Go ahead and try number 12. Number 12 is the same verb as number 11, cow perfect, although instead of it being a 2fs or 1cs, now it is a third common plural, indicated by the shurik. We still have the same suffix, the 2fs, kaf plus a silent shva. Try number 13. This is a cow perfect third common plural that you can see by the shurik after the pay, and then a 1cs suffix, the nun plus the hirik yod on the end of the verb. So they pursue me. Go ahead and try number 14. This is a cow perfect 3ms with a 3ms suffix. The holem vav is the 3ms suffix, and then we notice that there is no other suffix on the verb, therefore it must be a third masculine singular verb. So that we have the third masculine singular verb and a third masculine singular suffix. Try number 15. This is a cow perfect 2ms. You can notice the tav plus the comments, which shows that this is 2ms. There's also a dagesh in the tav, which helps us distinguish this from the hey that becomes a tav, that is the 3fs. There's a 1cp ending, a nu from anaknu, so that this is you send us. Go ahead and try number 1 of the next set of exercises, keeping in mind that all of the next set of exercises are imperfects rather than perfect. Imperfects are a little bit easier because of the fact that we have the preformative rather than a suffix on the verb, so that the cal imperfect 1cs here is indicated by the aleph at the beginning, and then it doesn't affect the suffix at the end, which in this case is who. Hey plus a shurik, the type 2 or older ending of the 3ms, so that this is I will choose him. Go ahead and try number 2. Again, we have a preformative, a yod, so this is a cow perfect 3ms, and the mem at the end is the third masculine plural suffix. What about number 3? Number 3 again has a preformative, an aleph, on the verb, so this is a cow perfect 1cs, and we have kaf at the end with the simple shva, so this is a 2fs suffix. What about number 4? Number 4 is a cal imperfect, third masculine singular. You notice this because the preformative yod on the front of the verb. The tricky part is the suffix. This could be, according to Van Pelt, a third masculine singular, nu, at the end of the verb, a suffix, or it could be a 1cp, nu from anaknu, a 1cp suffix. In my experience, typically if there is a dagesh in the nun, it is third masculine singular. However, this rule is not universal, so you would need to at least be aware of the fact that it could be either a 3ms or a 1cp, although with the dagesh, it's probably going to be a 3ms. What about number 5? Number 5 is a cal imperfect, second masculine plural. We have the tav prefix, which tells us that this is second person masculine, and then we look for the U class vowel, which we need to have after the shin, so that we have second masculine plural rather than second masculine singular, and then we have hu, the hey plus the shurik, that marks the third masculine singular suffix. What about number 6? Number 6 is quite straightforward, a cal imperfect 1cs marked by the aleph prefix, and then followed by the third masculine plural suffix, the mem at the end of the verb. What about number 7? Number 7 also has a preformative, a yod, which tells us that this is third masculine. We look for the U class vowel, and there is no U class vowel under the gimel. There is at the end of the verb, but that is part of the suffix, the hey plus the shurik that marks the 3ms suffix. So since there is no shurik, but there is a yod preformative, this is a cal imperfect 3ms with that third masculine singular suffix. What about number 8? Number 8 is exactly the same as number 7, only this time we do have the U class vowel under the gimel, so this becomes a third masculine plural with the 3ms suffix. What about number 9? Number 9 starts with an aleph, so we know this is a cal imperfect 1cs. Again, we have the nun plus the shurik at the end of the verb, which is probably a third masculine singular because of the dagesh, but just in case, we keep in mind that it could also be a first common plural. What about number 10? Number 10 again starts with an aleph preformative, so this is a cal imperfect 1cs. And then we have a 2ms ending, which is not written here on my answer sheet. It is the kaf, which has dropped off, the kaf plus the comments, which my computer doesn't like. So this is a cal imperfect 1cs plus a 2ms suffix. What about number 11? Number 11 is a cal imperfect 1cp with the nun prefix instead of the aleph prefix. Again, we have that kaf plus the comments at the end of the verb, showing that this is a 2ms suffix. What about number 12? Number 12 begins with the yod prefix. We check for a U class vowel under the dalet, which we do indeed have. So this is a third person masculine plural. And it ends with ni, nun plus a hirik yod, which is the 1cs suffix. What about number 13? Number 13 is a cal imperfect 3ms because we have the yod at the beginning of the word. This is yarash, the root, so that we have two yods at the beginning. We then have the kaf plus the comments at the end of the verb, so this is a 3ms verb with a 2ms suffix. What about number 14? Number 14 starts with a yod again, still on yarash, only this time there is a U class vowel after the shin, so this is a third masculine plural, followed by a third masculine plural suffix. What about number 15? Number 15 is exactly the same as number 14. The only difference is that the shurik in between the shin and the mem has become a kibbutz underneath the shin. Again, still a third masculine plural verb with the yod prefix and the u class vowel at the end, followed by a third masculine plural suffix indicated by the mem. Go ahead and try exercise 1 on the next set of exercises, keeping in mind that all of these verbs tend to be imperatives. This first verb is a cal imperative to ms. We have lost the tav off the beginning of the verb that has dropped, which is what happens in the imperative. We still have the 3fs suffix at the end. What about number 2? Number 2 is a cal imperative to ms. One of the nice things about imperatives is that they will always be second person. So we have a to ms cal imperative. This time we have a mem at the end of the word, which is our third masculine plural suffix. What about number 3? Number 3 is a cal imperative to ms. Against the tav has dropped. We have a 1cs suffix in the knee. So you help me. What about number 4? Number 4 is again a cal imperative second masculine, only this time there's a U class vowel under the dalet. So this is a second person masculine plural. We then have the 3ms ending, the who. So you, y'all, serve him. How about number 5? Number 5 is almost exactly the same as number 4, only instead of the kibbutz in number 4, we have the full shurik in number 5, so that we have a second masculine plural. The tav on the front has dropped off. It would not be a yod on the front because that would be third person, and third persons are non-imperatives. So this is an imperative second person, and then we have the 1cs suffix. What about number 6? Number 6 is exactly the same as number 5, second masculine plural, the tav plus the shurik. However, the tav at the beginning of this verb is actually part of the stem from tafas. So this is not the tav that goes with the shurik. The tav that goes with the shurik actually dropped off the front. But this is still a cal imperative to mp, this time with a third masculine plural suffix. What about number 7? Number 7 is exactly like number 6, a cal imperative to mp, only we have the 3fs suffix instead of the third masculine plural suffix. What about number 8? Number 8 is just like number 7, except the U class vowel is not a shurik but a kibbutz underneath the bait. So again, this is a second masculine plural, this time with a 1cs suffix, a first common singular. What about number 9? Number 9 is clearly dropped something off the front of the verb, so that this is a cal imperative to ms, the tav being what dropped, and we have a 1cs suffix. What about number 10? Number 10 is a cal imperative to ms, the tav having dropped off the front. We might look at the na at the end of the verb and assume that this is a third feminine plural or a second feminine plural. It wouldn't be a third because we're dealing with an imperative, and imperatives are only in the second person. And actually, the second person feminine plural imperfect verb is not attested, and neither is the second person feminine plural imperative. So you don't even have to worry about it. If you see na, it's going to be 3fs, the third feminine singular suffix here, not a marker of the verb. What about number 11? Number 11 is a cal imperative to mp. Again, the tav is missing off the front, but we do have the shurik before the nun, telling us that this is masculine plural. And then the nun plus the heric yod is the first common singular. What about number 12? Number 12 does not have a U class vowel after the last root consonant, so this is a cal imperative to MS rather than to MP. We do still have the 1CS suffix on the end. What about number 13? Number 13 is a cal imperative to MS, again, the tav having dropped off the front. The hey plus the mapik at the end is a 3FS suffix. What about number 14? Number 14 is again a 2MS, and then the ni, the nun plus the heric yod at the end, is a 1CS suffix. And finally, what is number 15? Number 15 is a cal imperative to MS. Again, we have the nu at the end, which is probably a third masculine singular, but it could be a first common plural. We're not exactly sure, given context, given the presence of the dagesh, several different factors, so we have to at least be aware of the fact that it might be either of those. Well, that brings us to the end of our lesson. Hopefully this has made sense and has solidified the cal stem for you in the perfect, imperfect, and imperative, especially as we add on those little tricky suffixes at the end. Continue to work and to memorize your vocabulary. Continue to solidify the paradigms that you need to know. Continue to do your homework, and I will see you in our next lecture. Well, that brings us to the end of our current set of exercises. Continue to review and learn these weak verb patterns well, because they're going to show up in all the Hebrew verb stems in the next several weeks.